Stop. Before you watch another second, ask yourself one question. When was the last time you knew for certain that what you were looking at was real? The smiling face on Instagram? AI. That heartfelt LinkedIn post? Probably also written by AI. That 5-star review? Fake, so many of them. The angry comments, bots, the viral outrage, profitable, the news, competing for your attention, sponsored and underwritten, the politician, campaigning, probably compromised, the influencer, selling, the expert, building a brand, the dating app, selling hope, one monthly subscription at a time, and also so many bots, fakes, and flakes. And the divorce, a legal battle worth hundreds of billable hours, half your stuff, and maybe more. That protest, remotely, possibly a deeply held conviction, definitely a fundraising campaign, probably both. We are living through the first moment in human history where nearly every emotion you experience can be measured, manipulated, packaged, and monetized in real time. Love, business model. Fear, also has a business model. Loneliness has a business model. Outrage has a business model. Even empathy, of course, has a business model. And this isn't a conspiracy. It's an income statement. Tonight, we are going to do something nobody else does. We're going to stop listening to what people say and start following where the money goes. Because once you see the incentives, you'll never look at the world quite the same again. There was a time when a handshake meant something, when a recommendation from a friend carried more weight than 1,000 anonymous reviews, when a photograph was evidence instead of entertainment or maybe AI generated, when love wasn't optimized, when outrage wasn't monetized, when people were people. But now every screen you own is asking the same question. How much of your attention can we convert into revenue before you even realize what's happening? Welcome to the age where authenticity has become the most valuable and the rarest asset on earth. Because if you follow the incentives, something unsettling begins to emerge. And the world increasingly behaves less like a civilization and more like a publicly traded company. So let's open the proverbial Bloomberg terminal. AI, everybody talks about what AI can create, but almost nobody talks about what AI destroys. Every day, millions of articles are written that no human has actually cared enough to write. Videos are narrated by voices that never existed. Influencers who don't exist, models who don't exist, actors or actresses who don't exist, customer service agents who don't exist, friends who don't exist. Entire conversations occurring between bots, generating engagement for other bots, selling products to people who don't realize that they are the only humans left in the room. And why? Because attention is now an asset class. The cheaper content becomes to manufacture, the more expensive your genuine attention becomes. That is not philosophy, it's economics. And for the record, we sell no products, we take no ad revenue, and have no business model for this channel. It's a pure hobby, pure being the operative word. But social media promised to connect humanity. Instead, it discovered something far more profitable: division. If outrage doubles engagement, the algorithm buys outrage. If fear keeps you scrolling, fear gets promoted. If envy keeps advertisers happy, envy becomes a feature. Every platform, they say they're optimizing the user experience. But look closer. They're optimizing for quarterly earnings. Then there are the industries built around human suffering, not solving suffering, but monetizing it. Divorce, litigation, conflict, war itself. Ask yourself a simple question. If every participant in a system gets paid when conflict continues, who exactly is financially rewarded by peace? Family law is one example where many people feel the incentives can become, shall we say, misaligned. Attorneys bill hours. Expert bill hours. Evaluators bill hours. Mediators bill hours. Courts process cases. Every case is unique. And many professionals work diligently to help families navigate painful situations, but incentives matter, and the longer and more complex a dispute becomes, the more economic activity it generates. That observation does not mean every case is unjust or every outcome is unfair, but it does mean that systems deserve scrutiny when financial incentives can reward prolonged conflict rather than efficient resolution. For many men, family court becomes one of the most financially devastating experiences of their lives. Others experience fair outcomes. The point isn't that every case follows one pattern. It's that the perception of incentives influences trust in the institution itself. And trust, once lost, is very expensive to rebuild. Marriage itself has changed, not because love has changed. Contracts did. In many places, marriage combines emotional commitment with legal and financial consequences that can extend for years after the relationship ends. That reality leads some people to view marriage as carrying asymmetric financial risks, while others see it as an essential institution that provides security for families, regardless of where one stands. Incentives shape behavior. Whenever substantial financial transfers can accompany the dissolution of a marriage, economics inevitably becomes part of the conversation alongside love. Whenever money enters relationships, human nature follows. Consider the protest economy. There have always been people motivated by genuine conviction. There have always been organizations that raise money, build audiences, attract media attention, and increase influence around political and social causes. Large movements often create ecosystems of consultants, nonprofit organizations, media outlets, merchandise, fundraising platforms, and professional activists. That does not invalidate the underlying cause, but it does mean financial incentives can become intertwined with activism. When outrage raises donations, outrage becomes recurring revenue. News? The old saying was, if it bleeds, it leads. Today, it's worse. If it scares you, it shares. Financial media isn't paid when you're calm. Political media isn't paid when you're satisfied. Financial influencers aren't rewarded for telling you to invest patiently for 30 years, though that's what you should do. They're rewarded for convincing you civilization ends next Tuesday, fear compounds faster than interest. Healthcare, education, even loneliness, entire industries now exist to solve problems that sometimes they helped create. Student debt fuels lenders, prescription volume benefits manufacturers, and subscription apps monetize isolation. Dating apps often benefit when users keep returning rather than quickly finding lasting relationships. Again, follow the incentives, not the slogans. Every kindness has become performative. Charity becomes content. Generosity becomes branding. Every good deed needs 3 camera angles and a jump cut. Every vacation becomes personal documentary. Every meal, proof of existence. The line between living and broadcasting has pretty much evaporated. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Most people are not evil. They're responding rationally to incentives. Companies maximize shareholder value, and algorithms maximize engagement. Politicians maximize votes. Law firms maximize billable hours. Influencers maximize views. Consultants maximize retainers. Everyone is optimizing something, and the question is, who is optimizing for you? This is where the Bloomberg terminal becomes more useful than the television. Strip away the slogans, ignore the marketing, ignore the mission statements, ignore the hashtags. Instead, audit the cash flows. Who gets paid? Who benefits financially? Who loses money if the problem disappears? Because incentives reveal reality long before press releases do. Every auditor knows this, and every investor knows this. Every successful business owner knows this too. The income statement usually tells the truth, even when the people do not. So, is anything real anymore? Well, yes. Your family is real. Your closest friends are real. Your neighbor who expects nothing in return, that guy's real. A craftsman proud of his work, a business owner who keeps their word, a farmer growing food, somebody who fixes your roof correctly when nobody is watching, people who build instead of perform, people who produce instead of posture, people whose reputation is worth more than today's revenue. Those people still exist. They're simply harder to find because they don't spend all day advertising themselves. In an artificial world, authenticity becomes a competitive advantage. In a synthetic economy, trust becomes a scarce commodity, and scarce assets tend to appreciate. So the next time somebody tells you a story, don't ask whether it sounds convincing. Ask who profits if you believe it, and don't follow the narrative. Follow the incentives, because when humanity becomes the product, understanding the business model may be the most human thing you can do. Build that stack. iBankerU. Good day.